What's up, you sweaty nerds and greasy degenerates? With part 2 of patch 1.4 fast approaching, I thought it would be great to put out a up-to-date build guide for Asta, one of the best support characters in the game, and one of the best support characters for both Topaz and VIII, as well as many other characters in the game. So let's go ahead and dive in. In this guide, I am going to be going over some math and spreadsheets. If you want them for yourself, go ahead and check the pinned comment below and description for the links. They were provided by a Reddit user whose name I can't pronounce because it is actually just a series of numbers. But go give them some love if you want. I will be giving a TLDR, so you don't necessarily have to go check the links if you want. We're also going to be going over her playstyle, how she works, the kit, relics. This is technically a full build guide, so strap in and let's move forward. Alright, so this is Asta, the girl that deserves better than Arlen, and we're going to quickly go over her kit and abilities just to make sure we understand what we're looking for when building her, what we want to go for when leveling her, what her synergies are with different characters, etc, etc. So let's go over this quickly so that we can get straight into the meat and potatoes of the build guide. Arguably her best asset is her ultimate, then her talent, and then her ass. Now let's go over her talent first, just because it's longer. She gains 1 stack of charging for every different enemy hit by Asta, plus an extra stack if the enemy hit has fire weakness. For every stack of charging Asta has, all allies' attack increases by 14% up to 5 times. Starting from her second turn, Asta's charging stack count is reduced by 3 at the beginning of every turn. So let's just quickly unpack this. So this 14% is what it will be at level 10. If you have Eidolons for her, this value will actually go up, and this is probably one of the first things you want to level for her, just so that you can get the most power output from her. Then her ultimate, but it just depends on what your build is, what your teams are, whether you want to level up her ultimate or her talent all the way first. You do want both of these highly leveled. So let's look at this last part here. Starting for her second, from her second turn, Asta's charging stack count is reduced by 3 at the beginning of each turn. Just so that you guys know, you can get all 5 stacks in one attack from Asta because her skill is multi-hit and can literally give her all 5 stacks at once if there's enough enemies that get hit. This is a bounce effect from her skill, so it can bounce to all enemies technically. And let's take a quick look at her Eidolons, because her Eidolons fix this minor issue that she has where she loses the stacks, but again, she can get those stacks back really easily. Anyways, after using her ultimate, Asta's charging stacks will not be reduced in the next turn. That's at Eidolon 2, so pretty easy to get. And at Eidolon 6, charging stacks lost in each turn is reduced by 1. Another heads up will be her Eidolon 4. Asta's energy regeneration rate increases by 15% when she has 2 or more charging stacks. This is really good for her two-turn ultimate that we're trying to get out of her, which is part of what makes her so good, but we'll go over that later when we talk about how to build her. So with Asta's ultimate, it increases the speed of all allies by 40 for 2 turns. It says 40 here because I don't have this fully leveled yet, and it works for the rest of my team for what I want. But this will be at 50 at level 10. Again, if you have Eidolons, this can get even higher. After using her ultimate, Asta's charging stacks will not be reduced in the next turn. Of course, that's her ultimate ability. And part of her stacks ability is Asta's energy regeneration rate increases by 15 when she has 2 or more charging stacks. So, and again, her skill deals fire damage equal to 32% of Asta's attack to a single enemy, and further deals damage for 4 extra times, with each time dealing fire damage equal to 32% of Asta's attack to a random enemy. This is a lower value because I have not leveled this yet. I will be leveling this eventually. You will have a higher number than this if you build it properly. When using her skill, it deals damage for 1 extra time to a random enemy. So this is just helpful for her to get a bunch of stacks mostly. Her damage is not the most important part of her, but of course you can level these to deal more damage if you so desire. Now the last thing I want to go over is her basic attack, which helps her with DOT teams mostly. It deals fire damage equal to 60% of Asta's attack to a single enemy. Again, if you level this all the way up, it'll be a higher value. Asta's basic attack has an 80% base chance to burn an enemy target for 3 turns. Burned enemies take fire DOT equal to 50% of the damage dealt by Asta's basic attack at the start of each turn. So this will help DOT teams because she has a burned DOT. Now, let's get into the rest of the build guide. Alright, so we are getting into the bulk of the video now, the meat and potatoes. Some of this has been a little nerdy up to this point, so I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a breather, show you guys some light cones, so that things stay a little bit more interesting for you. However, these light cones are required in order to achieve this 2 to 3 turn ultimate. I'm saying 2 to 3 turn ultimate because not everybody has everything they need to be able to achieve this properly. Maybe you're still building the character, maybe you need more Eidolons, maybe you need certain relic drops in order to make this happen, so just be aware of that. However, if you are hit in the middle of battle with Asta, all these other different factors come into play, and you might still be able to achieve the 2-turn ultimate, at worst, maybe 3-turn ultimate. But if you have all of these things, you can get a 2-turn ultimate. So let's take a look at the light cones here. Most people will be using this, and everyone can get this really easily because this is a 3-star light cone. And you have to, you have to understand that you have to have this at Superimposition 5 for this to work. After the wearer uses attacks or gets hit, additionally regenerates 8 energy. This effect cannot be repeatedly triggered in a single turn. So this works whether she attacks or even if she gets hit and maybe knocked out of her rotation or slowed down, she will at least still get the 8 energy, which is really, really good. This is meshing Cogs. Everyone can get this really easily. The downside to this light cone are these stats. It is a 3-star light cone, even at Superimposition 5 at level 80. The values are not very high, so you will have to make up for her survivability a little bit in the build so that she doesn't get one shot in things like Memory of Chaos. Speaking of memories, let's go ahead and show you guys Memories of the Past. This is her best in slot light cone because this basically is meshing Cogs with a bonus, 2 bonuses actually. You'll notice the stat values are significantly higher than the other light cones, so she has more survivability, she has literally better attack, etc, etc. It increases the wearer's break effect by 56%, and when the wearer attacks, additionally regenerates 8 energy. This effect cannot be repeatedly triggered in a single turn. So the only thing this has missing from it from meshing Cogs is that if she gets hit, she doesn't get the energy. However, you're probably not going to. It's probably going to be a different character on your team that gets hit anyway. So this is literally her best in slot. It does everything the meshing Cogs does to a degree, with an added bonus of having extra break effect. Asta just so happens to have some pretty darn good break effect, so this literally just leans into what she already does well even more. So Memories of the Past at Superimposition 5, again, this has to be Superimposition 5, is also a very solid choice to be able to use. This is what I use on my other Asta, and it is amazing. You also have another option for this as well. Let me try to find it here if I can. Let's go to Harmony. Why wasn't I in Harmony before? Dance, Dance, Dance. When the wearer uses their ultimate, all allies' actions are advanced forward by 16%. One of the reasons why this works is because at first she won't be able to get that ultimate super quick, but once she gets this engine going, she can give herself actions forward, getting her a bunch of turns, and getting everybody a bunch of turns. The speed starts to stack up a whole lot. At Superimposition 5, this is 24% value for actions advanced forward. At Superimposition 1, it is 16% forward. You might be wondering, okay, but what's the math now if I'm not using the 8 energy? The energy is really easy to math out. That's what we're going to use the spreadsheet for. Alright, so we have some tables here, we have some spreadsheets here that you guys can take a look at. Again, check the pinned comment and description down below if you want to check these out for yourself, and I do recommend checking this out for yourself because not everyone will have the same equipment, so you may need to play this differently. This spreadsheet here is the most important one. This shows you energy regeneration values for different scenarios with different gear. This other one here mostly shows you what you will be getting out of certain scenarios with your amount of turns and such. And be aware that in combat a lot of different factors come into play. For instance, if you get hit by an enemy, you'll regain energy faster. If you defeat an enemy, you'll regain energy faster, so you might not have to play these exactly like you see them here. There will be a little bit of variation to this, so come check these out for yourself. Alright, now we are going to jump back into the game in just a moment so that I can show you with better visuals some of what you will actually need. So skip ahead if you need to be looking at that rather than this. I just want to show you guys this so that you guys have access to this yourself as well. And I'm showing you that you guys are going to actually need, this as a requirement, the Sprightly Von Wax Planar Ornament set, the Energy Regeneration Rope, and it is ideal to have Meshing Cogs level 5 or Memory of the Past level 5. You can use Dance, Dance, Dance. However, it doesn't work as well unless you have Superimposition 5, but even then, it doesn't give you a good start. It is better to have Meshing Cogs level 5 or Memories of the Past level 5, and maybe use Dance, Dance, Dance on your other Harmony character if you're running 2 Harmony characters on the same team. And this column here is for players that are using Asta with Eidolons 4 through 6. This one is 1 through 3, and this one is if you just have the character. This column here is energy regeneration rate. You have an ultimate that requires 120 energy, and don't forget that in the middle of battle, a lot of things come into play. So if you defeat an enemy, you'll regain more energy than what you can see here that's not shown. If you get hit by an enemy, you will regain energy, more energy than what is shown here. There's a lot of things that come into play. This math is just done so that you guys get a general idea what you will need to do in order to reach certain thresholds and what you can do in order to get certain energy gains back. So just be aware of all of those different things. Now let's go back to the game, take a look at this if you so desire, so that I can show you better visuals for what you will actually want and need. Alright, so disregard some of the stats that you see here because this Asta is still a work in progress on this particular account. But I wanted to show you guys this Asta to show you guys what you will need in order to get the 2-turn to 3-turn ultimate and prove to you that Asta is really, really powerful even when she isn't properly optimized. Even in this broken down state, this Asta was able to clear Memory of Chaos Side 2 of Memory of Chaos 10 when all of these traces were at level 1 except for her ultimate, which was at level 6. All of this grayed out stuff you see was all gray. This 8 was actually a 1, this 2 was a 1, and this defense stacks wasn't even there. So just wanted to show you guys that she can literally pop off on the right team, even without being fully optimized. She was giving my main DPS so many turns that my main DPS just popped off and easily cleared with 3 stars Memory of Chaos 10. It was a little test just to see if it would work. And how we achieve her 2 to 3 turn ultimate is with an energy regeneration rope, and you have to use the sprightly 2-piece spheres to get the 5% energy regen off of that. You need to run some speed on her so that even if you miss the 2-turn ultimate, she still has enough speed to get that engine going again quickly. Otherwise, if she gets, let's say, crowd control, then she gets slowed down. At least when it comes back to her turn, she will get, decent enough turn rotation in order to get that engine going again. So highly recommend running her for speed, energy regeneration rate, and you can Editor Kun here, and I wanted to remind you guys that her Eidolon 4 gives her 15% energy regeneration rate, so if you have 2 or more stacks, and this is ideal for being able to give her 2-turn ult. It is very hard to achieve the 2-turn ult without it. You can get hit or defeat enemies in order to get it, however, it is much harder to achieve. The Eidolon 2 does help you get there because it helps her maintain her charging stacks, so does her Eidolon 6. Just wanted to remind you guys, if you want to have consistency, you really do need her Eidolon 4, just as a reminder. Let's talk about some other main stats for her as well. The main things you need to worry about are speed, so speed boots, energy regeneration rope. Those are the 2 most important things. You'd want to run either attack percent or fire damage boost on the main stat for your sphere. However, if you need her to have a little bit more survivability, you may want to run defense or HP on this slot instead. Because don't forget, not everyone has memories of the past at Superimposition 5 like this Asta does. You might have to use Meshing Cogs instead, and so your survivability might be a little bit lower, so you may need to sacrifice a single relic to HP or defense to give her the survivability she needs. Again, she's not your main damage dealer, she's your stat stick. And I put the 2-piece Weathering Snow on her because my Asta was only at level 60, her light cone was at level 60, her traces were basically non-existent, so I gave her this in order to be able to survive Memory of Chaos 10 to reduce the damage that she takes. So you can easily run something better on her, and running her for crit, by the way, you see I have crit rate here, is totally fine because she actually has a multi-hit skill. So even if your crit rate's just a little low, it's probably going to be fine because she has so many hits coming off her skill that you will crit with some of them. And don't forget, she gives herself attack bonuses as well through her talent. So running her for crit is actually not a bad idea at all. I highly recommend running crit if you can on her. If you can't, run an attack percent body on her just to give her that little bit of extra damage that you might want from her. That way she can occasionally defeat an enemy getting energy back quickly. I would highly recommend considering the 4-piece Wild Wheat set to give yourself even more speed from her, because you get 6% bonus from the 4-piece set. Again, I ran 2-piece and 2-piece in order to get the damage mitigation that I wanted, in order to be able to have her have more survivability. That way I didn't have to sacrifice any other relics to HP or defense. But consider running an HP or defense sphere or something like that in order to give her the survivability she may need. Again, attack percent or fire damage is also good. And again, here, probably want to run attack percent or potentially crit values in order to give her a little bit of extra power. Don't forget that you want to have probably around 63% crit rate to give you proper crit rate with her. However, because she has a multi-hit skill, you might not need to have it quite that high in order for it to still be good enough for you. The main things to remember here are speed, energy regeneration rate, and survivability, and maybe focus in on her actual damage output once you know that you feel safer with her character. Mainly, this is about getting her the 2 to 3 turn ultimate. For substats with Asta, the most important thing to remember is that she needs a lot of energy regeneration rate, and as a result of that, she wants a lot of speed as well. So speed substats are very important for her. Don't forget, of course, the usuals like attack percent. If you have her built for crit, then you obviously don't need me to tell you need crit rate and crit damage. But don't forget to build her with some effect hit rate, because she does have an 80% chance to inflict burn on enemies with her basic, so you probably want that to apply. If you put 25% effect hit rate on her, she should get that 100% of the time. However, if she's not on a DOT based team, that might not matter to you as much. Don't forget, she has multi-hit on her skill, so giving her break effect is really good as well. She has really solid break effect. And don't forget, of course, HP and defense, so that she doesn't go down really easily, especially if you have meshing cogs on her. So with Asta being a support character, the team setups and synergies matter a little bit less in a video like this, because you can pair Asta with pretty much any main DPS and have them perform really well, because she'll just give that DPS a ton of extra turns, and that's really, really strong for any DPS character. But arguably, the best synergies that she has is with a DOT based team. The more turns you get, the more DOTs you implant on enemies, and the more DOTs that can be detonated with a character like Kafka. So DOT teams probably want Asta more than any other team setup. That's probably where most of the team synergies will go. Asta also works really, really well with Gwenaifen, who's coming out really soon, and Topaz, that's coming out really, really soon as well. Let's see here. Asta has a trace. When Asta's on the field, all allies' fire damage increases by 18%. This will synergize with Gwenaifen really, really well. Gwenaifen is also a DOT-based character, so arguably Asta and Gwenaifen have the best synergies for Asta. It's just a matter of how good will Gwenaifen be when she releases. Is it more viable than something else? Well, Gwenaifen works on DOT-based teams, so Asta, Kafka, and Gwenaifen and a support character or a sustain character will probably be one of the best synergies you can have for Asta. Asta will also work really well with Topaz. Topaz and Nami have separate places in the action order. She will buff them with speed separately when she uses her ultimate, just value, 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 and you will increase Nami's actions forward, and that means that Nami will be able to act more times value, value, value. Any input is greatly appreciated, so put down in the comments below any synergies or anything I may have missed or that you just simply think are valuable for Asta, and they will always be greatly appreciated. If this video was helpful to you in any way, shape, or form, consider leaving a like and subscribe, because if you do, Asta might let you touch her butt. Anyways, I'll see you next time. Peace.